was a fighter, calling them out. She was inside, lost in the doubt. But life's funny, it can twist and turn. Now they're a team, and the world can learn. Funky and Magoo, the dynamic two, giving a voice to what's real and true. A tale of hope, and what we can do if we all had a little Funky and Magoo. She had the stories, he had the fights. Now they're shining a big bright light. From OT3 to Target 2, they're telling it all. Funky and Magoo. Funky's got the questions, Maggie's got the past. No sec checking needed, we will pass. Their needles are floating for those two. The perfect team, Funky and Magoo. True, speaking the truth for me and you. No disconnection or fair game too. They're shutting it down, Funky and Magoo. She saw it all, but now she's free. He called out fraud in Scientology. Working together, see what they can do. It's showtime now with Funky and Magoo.
Welcome to Bunky and Magoo.
You are right.
I had to put together an intro for us.
There you go.
I hope you like it.
I did. It's very cute.
Good. Yes, I wanted to surprise you with it and our audience as well. So thank you, everyone who is here. Let me take a look at who might be here already.
Oh, my God. There's a whole bunch of people here.
Oh, boy, look at this. Hey, hi, everyone.
Hey, hi.
So we got Cater, who liked the image that I used for the thumbnail. I have an image of Slappy as a clown in church. Let me see if I can pull that up for those folks who haven't seen it. Here we go. So put that on stage. So this is the one that's on there now. I wanted something for joking and degrading. And all of this was slapped together at the very last minute. I said, okay, what can I do? Okay, put Slappy dressed as a clown in a church. So that's what we got. There was another option. Well, there were four, but these were the two I had to choose from, really. This one where you can see it's obviously Slappy, but that's nowhere near as much fun. There you go. I like that.
Yeah.
So let's go back to us, shall we? Boom. There we go. And who else is here? Remy Smith says, hello.
Hello, and hi, Apostate Alex from London. I believe he's in London.
You would think. Eileen Bradley. Well, that's a throwback, Cheery.
Christina loves the intro. That's cool.
Well, that's good.
Thank
Lupita,
you all for your kind words.
Lauren, thank you. Kathy, great intro. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hey, Han Puds. Hello from an English insomniac. 4 a.m. there. Well, you know, I've been pulling all-nighters myself, so I'm glad that you could join us. 21 watching. Yes, Kelly, I popped that up by mistake. Very, very nice. National Treasure plus the Queen. Sorry, I'm going to say it every single time. JB808, you go ahead and say it.
You go ahead and say it. Never
Apostate Alex. Hey, it's Apostate Alex. What do you know? Yeah. Hello, YouTube. Big love to you both. Just heading to bed, but watching as I fall asleep. Well, I hope we don't haunt your dreams, but thank you for stopping by to see us. We were going to do an interview at some point, and I'm sorry if I dropped the ball on that, but I'd be happy to come on your channel, Alex, and do an interview whenever you want. Okay. PAG NYC. That theme made my day. Well, I'm glad you like it. Warn me next time. He's terrifying. Oh, Slappy. Slappy's terrifying. All right. Kiko K. Hello. Love to see you both live again. Han Puds says, yes, an interview with Alex and Mark would be good. It would be great. So here we are. Magooski, I appreciate you coming by to spend a little time with me here tonight.
Always.
Always like having you around. So I was thinking, I've always felt right from the very beginning of my fight with Scientology that joking and degrading is an important aspect of this thing because it's a high crime inside Scientology. But here in the real world, it makes life worth living. And if Slappy is going to be so upset about any type of joking, well, that just means bring it on to me.
Bring it on.
And it reminded me of something that I did right at the very beginning of my fight, before I showed my face, before anyone knew my name, when I was just putting up some little videos. I remember that I had this thing that I created called the Xenu Afternoon Special.
Oh.
I thought, I dug it up. I tried to improve the picture quality, but, it's not terrific. But let's see if we can take a look at that, shall we? I've got it here somewhere. Don't I?
Don't worry, we won't leave you.
There you go.
You're causing a chaos.
Hey kids, it's time for the Hubbard After School Special. Let's learn all about Xenu.
75 million years ago, this planet was called Tigiak. There were 90 planets in this sector called the Galactic Confederation.
Hey, it's true. That's what Hubbard tells us.
They had elected a fellow by the name of Xenu to the supreme ruler, and they were about to unelect him. And he took the last moments he had in office to really goof the flute. Xenu decided to take radical measures to overcome the population problem. Beings were captured on other planets and flown to locations near 10 volcanoes or more on Earth. H-bombs were dropped on the volcanoes, destroying the bodies of the beings who, as Thetans, attached themselves to one another as clusters. A revolt followed of the loyal officers against Xenu. Xenu was locked up in an electronic mountain fortress and remains there still. Since that time, beings born on this planet have had clusters of Thetans attached to their bodies. OT3 can run out these clusters and cause them to leave us and reincarnate as individuals.
Hey, we can get rid of those pesky body Thetans for you kids. And also teach you how to lift things with your mind, or even leave your body just like John Travolta does. All thanks to Ron Hubbard and the Church of Scientology.
Well, there you go. And I got to say, Kiko, where'd it go? Kiko said, this soundtrack is so nostalgic. I had a CD of music from some MGM cartoons by, who's the director? Great, Tex Avery. Tex Avery was one of the great animation directors. Started out at Warner Brothers doing Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and then moved over to MGM and created some really brilliant cartoons over there with Droopy the dog and another character that was never as successful, but a funny guy, Screwy Squirrel. So I said, okay, I'm going to take this animation, which was actually made for an episode of a BBC show. And I'm going to add the soundtrack and spoof it up. And I did my own little narration. Hey, kids,
Hey, good.
There you go. And actually, Tori, when you and I were having dinner with John Sweeney, I think it was at this point, he had told me that the fellow who created the documentary for the BBC that cartoon was in said he was just astonished that decades later, this thing that he worked on in the 80s
Sure.
is still being seen by people now on the internet.
I'm sure.
And it will continue to be seen. All of the great journalism that's been done through the decades it should be readily accessible. And there are a whole bunch of us online that are making sure that it is. Was this made as part of Chanology? No, it came well before Chanology. This was 98 or 99. And Anonymous came along with Chanology in 2008. And who's doing that Looney Tune voice? Well, I think I just showed you.
Hey, kids, it's me.
Alex likes it. Apostate
That's
Alex. I'm
good.
glad you enjoyed it.
I do too.
And here's Hey Han Puds, Tigiak. I always pronounced it Tigiak. I think it was what you're saying, because that's what I always said to Tigiak. And I got word from the intergalactic cramming officer, Dennis Ehrlich, that I've been mispronouncing it. It is a hard G. It is Tigiak. So that's an important lesson for all of us.
I think everyone I know on OT3 that's ever done OT3 calls it TGIAC. So
Yeah.
he was
Well,
early on. So
And yes, Puds, you're right. Tex Avery is a legend. So, Kiko, your friend's been introducing his son to old Warner Brothers idea. Yeah, there's tons of them out there online. And also, look up Tex Avery, look up Screwy Squirrel, look up the stuff he did with Droopy the dog, because the timing on his cartoons is just spectacular. And I'm always amazed by, like, my favorite animation director has always been Chuck Jones. Tori, I'm sure you agree with me. Chuck Jones is the best. But he brought a lot of character to the cartoons, and it wasn't just slapdash, slapstick. But there's one line from Bugs Bunny that I use all the time if I'm lost, or if I just want to do a microphone check. Let's see if my voice is able to do it now. But Bugs pops out from an underground tunnel that he's been burrowing, and he pops up and goes,
I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
you
looking
knew
around,
what?
he's lost
I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
because he's in the wrong place. He wants to be in Pismo Beach, and there he is in the middle of. And that one was Alibaba Bunny, where he's in that. Never mind. Oh boy, but Bugs is always my hero. I think all of us want to be Bugs Bunny, but most of us, like me, are Daffy Duck, unable to really deal with everything in life without throwing a little fit. Bugs always has the answer to everything. Hey, let's get back to joking and degrading. There's a few movies that have been done that kind of goof on Scientology, and there's one that I don't think most people are aware of. It's a little independent film done by Steven Soderbergh.
Done by who?
Steven Soderbergh. He was the director of Sex, Lies, and Videotape. That was his first film, which is a big indie hit.
Okay.
And he went on to do things like all the Ocean's 11 movies and some really spectacular
Right.
films over his career. And his second movie, right after Sex, Lies, and Videotape, was a goof on Scientology called
Wow.
Schizopolis. Schizopolis has perhaps the most perfect opening to the movie, and I'm going to show you that. Now, I urge you to seek out the film. It's really independent and offbeat, and it's not something that's going to compel you through the whole movie. Perhaps I found it very entertaining, but this opening is epic, and I'm going to share that with you to show you, what genius is. And so at the very beginning of this clip, it's hard to see because it starts out in the distance at the back of a movie theater. And at the very beginning of the clip, there's this guy who's climbing onto the stage to address the audience. And then it gets closer as they go along. Love the music.
Ladies and gentlemen, young and old, this may seem an unusual procedure speaking to you before the picture begins, but we have an unusual subject. Turn. When I say that this is the most important motion picture you will ever attend, my motivation is not financial gain, but a firm belief that the delicate fabric that holds all of us together will be ripped apart unless every man, woman, and child in this country sees this film and pays full ticket price, not some bargain matinee cut rate deal. Turn. In the event that you find certain sequences or ideas confusing, please bear in mind that this is your fault, not ours. You will need to see the picture again and again until you understand everything. Turn. In closing, I want to assure you that no expense was incurred bringing this motion picture to your theater. And now, filmed in its entirety and proven to heal minor cuts and abrasions, we proudly present Schizopolis!
All right, how do
there's
you
an
spell it?
extra little bit here. Show you in a moment.
His bestseller, Here I Am Now, helped you find yourself. His groundbreaking sequel, How to Control Your Own Mind, taught you how to think. Now T. Azimuth Switters, author of the earth-shattering manifesto, Eventualism, and the world's most influential thinker, is appearing in person February 11th at the Civic Sports Memorial Performing Arts Theater Dome. Tickets on sale wherever tickets are sold.
There you go. So how do you spell it? Schizopolis is Schizopolis. How about that? Oh, let's pull us back up here. And it's, as I say, it's indie, but it's really goofy is what it is. But it's not a linear storytelling mainstream film by any means. But Steven Soderbergh also not just wrote and directed that film, and he was the guy we saw on stage there doing the little intro. He also stars in the film, and I don't think he's acted in anything else since then. And, just clearly this was something he wanted to do for himself, and and it is very funny. It's on the Criterion channel if you wanted to see it. There's also a commentary track.
And it's on YouTube?
I don't know that you can find the film itself on YouTube. You might.
Well, how would you find it?
Well, one of these services, you might go to your library and ask there if you can't find it online. But as I say, the Criterion channel does have it.
The Criterion.
You can sign up for a free month trial. Watch Schizopolis, get sucked into a few other things before your trial ends. Doesn't cost you a dime for a trial, for heaven's sakes. And some of the greatest movies across the entire planet live there at the Criterion Channel.
Wow.
Anyway.
Good to know.
Yeah. Criterion is a company that's been licensing movies from the various different studios. And they were really the ones to start giving them special treatment back in the Laserdisc days.
Right.
They were the first ones to say, let's have a director do a commentary track. Let's throw some scenes in that were cut out that were never seen before. Let's create some background information on the movie. So Criterion Channel has had the best reputation for really honoring and preserving and showcasing the work of various directors over the decades. You can find
Bridge 1872 says it's on Apple TV or Amazon Plus for rental.
Yeah, you should be able to rent it or buy it on any of those services.
Thank you.
And Spock here has the Spock Hates Scientology. Schizopolis is spelled like that.
Okay.
Wow. Well, this is
There you
perfect. Rochelle says, oh, I just took it off screen. But it's in the chat. You folks can go back and see it. I was looking for some jokers and degraders tonight. Well,
and you thought I'd be one of them.
And there you go. Puds says, yes, Criterion do the best releases. So there have been, and Magoo, I brought you here primarily because I wanted to show you our intro. But I also wanted to point this out as well. And we can talk about this. This is not part of joking and degrading. But I just want to announce that I have upscaled the next in your series of speeches. We've got you in San Diego.
The Center for Inquiry in Hollywood, Center for Inquiry West, about the speaker that I'd heard of. And they said she built the joint up there. And she was interrupted several times with standing ovations. And of all the people that had spoken at their place on Hollywood Boulevard, she was the best of the bunch. She really turned the crowd on, had a good time.
Well, there you go. And
if it's my own opinions, I have a right to say them, right?
I've got the whole speech here for you folks to see. I'm going to publish this as soon as we get off of this live stream. But folks will be able to go and watch the new 4K rendition of that speech. Oops, where'd you go, Magoo? There you are. So more Magoo to come, but these are the first two of her major talks that I've managed to improve. Tori, when you were in Scientology, how was joking and degrading treated? Was it really the high crime?
Yeah. You know, it's funny because it depends on who you're with and where you are. Like if you're in the org and you're joking about anything to do with Hubbard or David Miscavige or the executives or their uniforms or the Sea Org or any of that, you're sent to ethics. That's it. Somebody write a knowledge report on you and, Tori was making fun of whatever. And off you'd go to ethics and you'd have to do conditions and blah, blah, blah. But here at home, like right before I woke up, I was training with my friend Tom Bracelet, who's probably still in. And we were in our dining room making fun of the executives at the events because they all had I know they all had learned this lilting thing. It's like, today we are going to fly. And then we are going to do this, and it was sort of like that was their whole speech. But Bracelet had it down. I mean, we were laughing. It was so funny. And that would be considered joking and degrading with them. but it was very funny.
Yeah.
It really was. And I grew up, Harold was funny. So it was like we were into comedy and humor and stuff like that. So it was like, it didn't really fly for us. It was like, okay, we got the rules. And, and also I try to remind people that are watching this, we were in before the internet. So there wasn't really all the information that you guys know, because people all the time ask me, how could you believe that shit after, knowing what you know? But we didn't know what that, you know what I mean? That's why I call it the Truman Show, because it's like you're in the show and that's it. And here's the rules. And if you want to stay in the show, you go by the rules. If you don't, there's the door. You can leave anytime you want, but that you can't really. If you leave, you're going to lose all your friends or your family or whatever. So it's sort of like, sure, leave anytime you want, but not really.
Yeah. I was always amazed to find out that somebody can be sent to the RPF for joking and degrading.
No, public cannot.
Not public. Not public.
I know,
no.
But I try to clarify that, because a lot of people asked me if I went on the RPF, and I said, no, I was public. And public, only Sea Org can be sent on the RPF. Only.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks for clarifying.
Well, yes, Truman Show Scientology edition. Correct.
Yes. Question. Was there at least one person in Scientology that you felt safe sharing any negative thoughts about the cult with, without fearing that they'd snitch on you? Tori?
Not really. No. The only thing I have, and I have a ton of them, are my journals. Because you can write anything you want in a journal, and nobody's going to see it. But
well,
I really didn't have anyone, even my best friends. No, because see, it goes both ways. If we joked about it or said anything negative, I don't know how freaked out they would be. So they might report me, or they would be worried that I would report them. So you just kind of run on this, like, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everything's fine.
Yeah.
I remember one time, this was right before I woke up, Bunker. I don't know if you know this story, but I had sort of backed away from Scientology. I'd stopped doing OT7. I was like not doing well. And Kathy Yachty and Vicky Dries, both of my good friends, she's now dead, Kathy. But at the time, they had done the new PTS-SP course, which is all of the tone scales. And now you have to know everyone by the number. Like, what is, everyone knows 1.0, 1.1
right.
is covert hostility, but a bunch of the other ones you don't know. Okay, so now I'm sitting at a table with them. It's like, I'm trying to give you a picture. It's like Vicky's on one side, I'm here in the middle, and Kathy's on the other side, right? Okay, so I happen to mention Martha Stewart. That's all I did, was mention that I'd seen something on Martha Stewart. And it was like the Berlin Wall came down. I mean, they just cut me off. And they both just started talking like I didn't even exist. It was so weird. And it was kind of a final, like, I am so done with this, in my head. I just was done with it. But isn't that weird?
It is.
Because they had decided Martha Stewart was 1.1. So if Tori's talking about her, cut her off.
You think you'll ever share any of those journals with us?
No, they're a bunch of shit. It's like, honestly, it's just day after day. I fucking hate OT7. I want to get off of it. Really? I wrote that up to David Miscavige regularly and said, I'm 100 pounds overweight. I can't, L. Ron Hubbard says you will not have case gain over a present time problem. And being 100 pounds overweight, if you're thin, you won't even know, you can't even think with it. But just imagine 10-pound bags of potatoes and holding 10 pounds. And then every time you get up, you're lifting that much weight. It's awful. And all I would get back is, okay, continue.
Well, those journals might be well worth looking through and culling out some information. Well, we do have somebody here. YouTube watcher says, Bunky and Tori, question for Tori. Are you still considering writing a book? Maybe there's some material. All right.
I am.
And I think it's easier to do nowadays than ever before.
Is it?
I mean, you've got AI tools that can help you put something together and get it up to par.
Well, it's up to Bunky to help me.
All right. Well, we have another very important question for you.
Thank you. Why?
This is from Lapita. Yeah, this is from Lapita T. Question for Tori: will you ever share your healthy hair secrets? And she is serious.
The truth is, I was born with it with my mom. She died with wonderful hair. It was the one freaky thing about my mom. It was like when she died, I actually wanted to cut some of her hair because it was so pretty. But I thought that's sort of ghoulish to take somebody's hair, when they're passed away. So I thought, no, I won't. But she had a full head of hair when she passed away.
Probably
so
worse.
It really was just inheriting it. And the color is my hairdresser, Joe Hernandez.
Chatty Cathy's got a question. Are public Scientologists aware of what Sea Org members are going through? I'm always confused that people wanted their children to join the Sea Org. Were you aware of the abuses when you were in, Tori?
No, I don't think any public is aware of the abuses. I was aware of a little bit of it, in that I constantly talked to the executives and said, these children need to spend time with their parents. They need to have more space. They were all crammed into a little parking lot across from AO, that little parking lot there. And I said, this isn't enough space for kids. They were at their parents' desk while they were regging money, and I said, they need to have their own life. You know what I mean? They're people. And no one cared. No one cared. And it's sort of like, like you can say as far as Trump, okay, well, we have to get rid of this guy. I mean, he's a fucking mess. Sorry for anybody who's pro-Trump, but I'm not. And I'm just saying, once someone is in that machine, it's very hard to go, okay, that's right, let's just get rid of him. And it's the same thing with the Sea Org. I mean, they ran it. That's how it worked. They didn't care. And finally, they did get a ranch, and it made it sound like, okay, the kids have a ranch. It really sounded good. Like, good, the kids are at the ranch. Yeah. Now you hear the stories of the kids at the ranch, not Mace Kingsley Ranch, but the ranch for the Sea Org. And it was a fucking nightmare for them. It was awful. But no, I didn't know about the abuses. And Serge, his husband, came up to me a year ago out on Hubbard Way, and just started saying, Serge is all of his upset is because of you, Tori. You created that. I said, pardon me? I didn't even know Serge's name a month ago. You know what I mean? I just heard about this guy, and I'd never met him. And then he showed up the next night, and I said, Serge, I'd like to meet you. And he said, no. And he just looked away, and he walked away. And I brought a guy with me, and I said, come with me. And I said, Serge, I'd really like to meet you and talk to you. And he said, no. And he just rattled off all these lies and then looked back at me, and he goes, and that's it. And I said, okay, then that's it. And the rest is on you. It's like, it's over to you. If you want to talk to me, come to me, because I'm willing to talk to you, but you're not willing to talk to me. But it's like, I had nothing to do. I didn't even know all that shit that he's talked about. I've never been audited by a child. So that's a little unreal to me, that public who are paying public are going to be audited by a child. But so I just want people to get the framework of it. It's like, I'm not saying it didn't happen to him, but I don't know if it was in the Sea Org or if he was specially auditing certain kind of public or something. But I never met a Scientologist that said, oh yeah, a 14-year-old was auditing me. Never.
Well, I have been preparing all of the woodcraft videos, upscaling those to 4K. And Astra, in her video, did talk about the fact that she was 14 or 15 when she was auditing this guy who was going on and on about masturbation. And she complained.
She was in the Sea Org, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think it might, maybe I have to ask Serge, but he won't talk to me. So maybe if you talk to him, ask him if he would. I don't know if it was a Sea Org thing or what. I don't. But I know Astra was in the Sea Org. I know that.
Yeah. So the public would,
We're
would
paying thousands of dollars. I'm not going to pay a 14-year-old. I was on course with them at one point.
These 14-year-olds have lived a decade, millennia. They've lived lifetime after lifetime.
Let me finish my communication. They had a fucking encyclopedia in the courtroom, in the course room, saying, this is Washington, D.C. So if someone mentions Washington, D.C., this is where they're talking about. And I'm thinking in my head, someone's going to pay to have someone audit you who doesn't even know where Washington, D.C. is? It was like, no way. It was just no way. It was right towards the end of me leaving.
Yeah, you would think that there's something wrong with the way Scientology runs things.
Well, they don't. I mean, really, that doesn't happen. So with the public, I always had professional, trained adult auditors. Not that they're the greatest on earth, but they were a lot better than, to me, at least they understood what I was saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Robert Verstranton says, Peter Moon, his suggestion for you. This is an ex-Sea Org writer and publisher. Could help you and could help write it perhaps as well. Peter Moon, jot that down.
How do I find Peter Moon?
Google. There's probably somebody who can get you in touch with him. Robert may have contact information.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm going to skip the Trump stuff because I am too worked up about it. Okay.
Wow, T, you were in since birth. Woo! My sympathies and congratulations for being out.
Kelly, if there's some folks that I've been missing, some questions that I missed, let me know. Oh, here's one from Miss Chicago Jane. Question for Tori. You and Serge, still don't talk to this day, though, through everything that's happened. I'm so sorry. So it's not really a question so much.
It's not Serge, it's Serge. S-E-R-G. Serge, what's his last name?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but he
there's
has his own channel and he talks about it a lot.
I mean, the search was just a typo. She's got Serge up there now.
Okay, good.
Okay. Have you ever seen Bowfinger, Magoo? The movie Bowfinger?
I haven't.
Really?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's a good film. It's a film written by Steve Martin.
Oh.
And it stars him and Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Schizopolis was a spoof of Scientology that really very few people have seen. But Bowfinger had a good mainstream release, was not a gigantic hit, but it's been gathering respect through the years. And well worth checking out if you or anyone else hasn't seen Bowfinger. They really capture a lot of the essence of Scientology in it.
Wow.
Where Eddie Murphy is essentially the Tom Cruise figure in the film. This big star who's devoted to this own ripoff of Scientology. And Steve Martin is a low-rent director of films. He wants to be a director. He wants Tom Cruise or Eddie Murphy to star in the film, but he can't get to him. So he finds somebody who looks like him and convinces him to star in the movie. Let's take a look at the trailer for that, because it is a funny film filled with lots of insight into Scientology. So if you folks haven't seen it, give it a chance.
Do you have any experience in motion pictures?
Oh, yeah, quite a bit, actually. I have quite a bit of experience. I'm an active renter, and I attend the film, the cinema, as much as possible, weekly, bi-weekly, inter-week,
Would you be willing to cut your hair?
Yes, but it's usually better if someone else does it. I've had a few accidents.
Would you be willing to show your naked rear end in a movie?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
This is the best Eddie Murphy was
Welcome
for a
aboard.
while.
Here's your wardrobe. We are finished. We are over.
How come?
You had sex with Jeff.
So?
Well, I never thought of it that way. Stay with him, stay with him! Front go, picture! Keep it together, keep it together, keep it together! Keep it together, I'm keeping it together!
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
You're gonna be a star.
So it really is a funny film, and you know, it deserves all the love it can get. They have their own type of e-meter that Eddie Murphy is hooked up to, and I told an anecdote from my career in the last video that I did, Tori, about how I had taken a few years off from acting. I got a new agent, and I went to an audition for the first time in a couple of years. And at the audition, there were a couple other actors I was chatting with. One had just done a commercial. One was talking about the TV show he just did, and I hadn't done anything. So I, come up with something. I said, well, I'm writing a script about the Church of Scientology. Of course, if it ever got made, I'd end up dead in a ditch somewhere. I made that comment, and from that, I got a call from my agent saying a friend of a friend wants to talk to you. And I didn't recognize the name, so I ignored it. A week later, the agent called back very angry, saying, they're accusing us of not giving you the message. A friend of a friend has a job for you. Call them.
Wow.
So I called the number. I think it's a job. And it was the head of the Celebrity Center. Saying,
Oh, God, no.
We understand you're writing a movie about us. And it freaked me out.
Ooh,
Went,
no, Marky.
I was just joking. Well, why did you joke about a thing like that? I don't know. And I hung up. And it really freaked me out.
Wise move.
That type of thing happens in Bowfinger, where somebody in the studio system reports back to Scientology about something that they noticed. So
I know it's tricky. They're all over they used to be all over the internet. A lot of them have left now. Now wait, let me answer a couple of things because a few people said something. First of all, it's Serge Del Mar. Thank you, T, for correcting that. And he was in the Sea Org, she thinks. I think so too. And then someone else said, somebody else said that he audited at Celebrity Center, which I found that very hard to believe, but maybe he did. Maybe he did. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't. It's just I worked at Celebrity Center. I was on staff at Celebrity Center for a short time as an NSO, meaning non-Sea Org. And again, most of the people that were auditors, I was an auditor. and they were people my age, which wasn't 14, so I don't know how that worked. But anyway, I appreciate you filling me in on it. Miss Chicago Jane says, Tori, you and Serge still don't talk to this day. That's not because of me. It's like me and my husband don't talk to this day, not because of me. I would be happy to talk to either one of them. They won't talk to me. Harold is in Scientology and has to not talk to me, or he'll be declared suppressive. Serge, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I wish he would at least take the time to talk to me. I'm not that bad a person, right, Bunky?
Yeah, I talk to you still. It's been. I put up with you.
You rat. You are
26 years. 26 years I've been talking to you. That's what she said. Says, hi, Tori and Mark. She's new to our channels and learning a lot and hopes you all keep at it. Well, I think we all will. Do you agree, Tori?
We'll keep at it. I mean, I love these guys that say this is over. This thing is over. And I'm like, over what? I've been speaking out for 24 years and I wasn't the beginning of it. There were people way before me, including you, Mark. You were there before me.
And there were people there well before me.
Huh? Yeah, there were people well before you. Jesse, Jerry Armstrong, which people never even mention anymore. But none of us would be having this conversation without Jerry Armstrong. He got the information from Hubbard about Hubbard being a liar. And he even said to Ron, he was trying to correct him. He said, hey, man, this stuff that you're telling me to look through isn't adding up with what you're saying. And it's not going to look good. And Hubbard, I guess, got really pissed off about it. So he took the shit and left.
Yeah, I'm going to do an interview with Jerry.
Really?
I actually have. Yeah. He said that he'd come on and chat with me. And that's nice of him. We're going to have to find out a time to do that.
Good. Yeah, definitely nail it down. Nail it down.
Yeah. He really changed the world. I mean, he's one of the most important people in this entire story because if it wasn't for him, none of us would know
we wouldn't
anything.
be having this conversation. Yeah.
Wouldn't have any truth about Hubbard's life. And it's amazing how he made such a difference. And then also extra amazing at how Scientology tried to destroy him after that.
Right.
So he's got quite a story to tell.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mark, have you thought about doing an interview?
Okay.
Yeah. 49ers fan for life says, Mark, have you ever thought about doing an interview with Mitch Brisker? And Mitch and I have been in contact, and I think we're going to do that. I just started watching some of Mitch's videos, and I'm going to have to go back and watch more of them. I, of course, stumbled upon it because Kelly, my mod, said, hey, did you know Mitch wrote about you in his book? I said, no. And he was reading from that chapter on his YouTube channel. He's been going through his book chapter by chapter in different videos. And this one was about Anonymous. So I watched that whole video, and I was very impressed that he's getting out all this information. He's got such a long career in Scientology as a director of Scientology films. He never was, I think he never joined the Sea Org. He worked with all the Sea Org members at Golden Era. But
are you talking about Mitch?
Mitch, yeah.
They have a thing, and I know this because they hired me. They have a thing called professional Scientology, or they're professional people that Hubbard wrote a thing that if the Sea Org isn't trained in something, they can hire a professional and pay them a professional wage. So for getting Dianetics to #1, even though Jeff Hawkins, everyone knows him as doing that, we did the work. And I worked from 8 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon every single day and got paid $1,000 a week next to Sea Org guys that were making $35 a week.
Yeah.
So-
and Jeff is the guy who came up with the marketing campaign that everyone remembers still to this day. The TV ads with the got a problem, page 29, this all this kind of stuff.
Oh, he definitely worked on it. It's just it's sort of like
he just didn't get paid.
It wouldn't have happened if I hadn't come up with my little thing that someday I'll tell you, but it wouldn't have happened because it was per the lady that was running it. She said, we're at the end of the road. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, we've done all the radio stations. We've done all the TV stations. We have nothing else. We've done Dianetics. We've done Scientology. There's no other books that people can buy. And I said, well, let me think about it. And I came home and I came up with a 4-part series. And she said, Tori, no one is going to do a 4-part free series. And I said, well, let me just try it. Let me give it a shot. And I called this guy in Tennessee. And he said, hello. And I said, look, I've got a really great idea for you on Dianetics. And he said, what is it? And I said, it's a 4-part series. And I gave him the different titles. It was like how to handle your physical thing, your kids, whatever, different things. And he said, I think that's great. I'll call it L. Ron Hubbard Month. And that was the beginning of, we did that for 2 years, series after series after series on Dianetics. So that's why I'm saying the whole Dianetics being #1 wouldn't have happened without that whole system. And that was a lot of celebrities who did a lot of interviews and we figuring out the different series.
All right. Well, we will blame you from now on for making Dianetics a bestseller.
And L. Ron Hubbard Way, because I helped get that named.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And now you can, you have a hard time walking down the street. At least they stopped me.
I don't have a hard time. They just can't talk to me.
They chased me away several times.
Nah, they don't chase me away.
Have Mark? Oh, I'm sorry. I just cut somebody off there. Robert, when I first got on YouTube and searched Scientology, you two guys were the first I followed. Awesome. Well, you came to the right spot. All you need is Bunky and Magoo. So all these other latecomers, who do they think they are? We got this handled.
Yeah.
She made Dianetics a success.
There you go.
Miss Chicago Jane, I think back when you were both protesting, I think you had more contact with the Scientologists than they do now.
Oh, 100%. 100%. They used to be able to come out and talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go out. I was sent out to handle the critics for 2 years. And that's how I met Mark.
And that's what kind of made it fun. We'd have these encounters.
I know.
And I was always of the opinion that, somebody spotted Angry Gay Pope in the video I put up last night from Kirstie Alley's Organic Liaison opening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
And, it's different takes. There are a lot of people who love Angry Gay Pope. It's just a different way to deal with it. I prefer, finding some amusing way to have a conversation.
Me too.
Rather than shouting at people. And where was this? I saw something with the Pope. Oh, I have to talk about this at some point. I'm going to do a video or more about what was going on in Riverside County a few years back when they were trying to stop all protests there at Golden Era.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. God. And the organ music.
Yeah. I've got the gold tone. I've got that video I dug up. They would try to chase people away out there by sending out this incredibly loud tone to drown you out and drive you away, but
It was more than loud. My ears hurt so badly. Someone came over and he said, "Look, this is military grade noise intended to shut you up." And he gave me these special headsets to wear. And I did, and it took me 5 days to get over it. It was awful.
Yeah. They didn't do it just
Huh?
They didn't do it just at Golden Era, though. There was an org in Orange County somewhere, I forget where, but it was in a city.
Austin.
Okay. Where people were protesting there, and they cranked out that same gold tone.
I haven't ever heard it anywhere but at Gold. But I believe you.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I have video from that other location or not. I may. But it's astonishing the things they've tried to do to stop protesting, none of which have been successful. And the reason I was thinking of Edgar Gay Pope, he spoke at one of those Riverside meetings, and he talked about something that I saw him do, where he just started stomping on the flowers.
Yeah,
and,
I remember that.
It was like, dude, why? And then he seemed to be bragging about it in the Riverside County meeting. They came after me for that. All I was doing was stomping on their flowers.
Yeah.
Oh, well. L. Ron Hubbard Way. Wasn't that the street from the 4th of July video? Yep. Yes, indeed. L. Ron Hubbard Way is that one block with cobblestone. Is it cobblestone?
What is it? No, it's not.
Is it cobblestone road? Okay.
No.
For some reason, but
it is some kind of brick thing. It is something.
Yeah. And that's right in front of Big Blue. So that's one that they shut off from time to time to do events. Question from JB808. Tori, can you shed some light on statistics? You made a comment that the cult would take delight in all of this current division and their stats would go up. Is it like some quota they have to meet? Well, everyone has to turn in stats Thursday at 2.
Yeah, their weekends are Thursday at 2, and their goal when I opened up their phony accounts originally for my auditor. I wasn't working for the church. My auditor came to me, who was my best friend at the time, Bill Yachty, and he said, "We got to handle this stuff on the internet. It's out of control." And I said, "Okay, what do you need me to do?" And he said, "It's sort of an impossible thing to do, but I think you could do it." And I said, "All right, what is it?" And he said, "Normally you have to open up an email account on the internet." And I didn't know what the internet was, email accounts, anything. And he said, "But I think you can go in and just push your way in and tell them you've got to get an email account." So I said, "All right, give me the address. I'll give it a shot." And I came back and he had a grin like from here for as big as LA. He was like just so happy. And I said, "What?" And he said, "You just changed the history of the internet, Tori." And I said, "How could I change the history of the internet when I don't even know what it is?" And he said, "Let's go to dinner. Come on, I'll tell you." And that was the beginning of it. But now I forgot what the original question was. What was it?
Well, it's whether they'd have stats to report over creating arguments between
so
critics.
Their thing was distract, divide and conquer, or just slime the area. And remember, back then it was linear. So somebody make a post, he'd make another post, he'd make another post, he'd make another post. Finally, a real person would jump in, which I don't know. Did you ever know Phil Hendry? Bunker?
Yeah, the radio guy. Yeah.
I realized, I think that's where Yachty got his ideas from with the 10 accounts. Because remember, Phil was he was a comedian on the radio who just would do, I heard him the first time. This is a true story. I was driving in my car and I hear Phil, "This is the Phil Hendry Show." And then all of a sudden his boss comes on and he goes, "Shut up. Nobody gives a shit about your name. Move along." And I think, God, that's pretty rude. And he just keeps going and he's like one different identity after another. And finally a real person calls in and goes, "I'm really offended by you and this radio station talking to each other like that." And they all burst out laughing. And I I go into Harold and I go, I don't get it. I mean, this guy was so mean. And Harold just starts laughing and he goes, oh, it's so funny. It's just a gig, that's all it is.
Yeah.
But
Phil Hendry would be his own guest. And he was just masterful at interviewing himself under various different guises. And
I bet he's on YouTube, right? Wouldn't he be?
I would think that, if you search for him, yeah, there's probably plenty of stuff out there that
Phil Hendry, the Phil Hendry show. I bet there is. But anyway, that's where I think he got that idea. And it was sort of like, to the degree they can get people fighting with each other, they think they're winning. To the degree that they get people distracting off of anything hot topic of Scientology, they think they're winning. To the degree that there's just a bunch of crap, so people go, I don't even want to post there anymore.
Phil Hendry Phil Hendry dropped my name one time.
Really?
What? Yeah, he was doing something where he was interviewing a Scientology critic, apparently. And this guy came on and said that he was the top critic of Scientology. He said, well, I don't think you're better than Mark Bunker. I was like, what? So that was nice. And
that's impressive.
I had that on tape somewhere. I don't know whether that's even anything that I have access to anymore, but it was a funny piece where he was talking about Scientology.
That would be impressive, because Harold always liked you, and he would really like you if Phil Hendry mentioned you.
Well, I don't think he changed his mind. Who was it? There was a number one morning DJs in LA too, and I can't think of their name. It was a duo. They talked about my videos from the 4th of July, where they're surrounding me and saying, "What are your crimes, Mark?" They played some of that audio, and it was so cool that it's reaching out to all these folks.
Thank you,
the
Kelly.
Intro. All right. Comment from YouTube watcher. It is amazing how the volunteer ministries have not changed. I watched a video report how VMs only had their yellow shirts and touch assists after the earthquake in DR. Why am I having trouble placing DR? No water or food or anything, just the yellow shirts. Well, they were commandeering water and supplies from the folks who were really trying to help in some locations. I think in LA during the fires.
Well, that was recently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was?
And they caught a bunch of shit on it from people on the internet right away. So then they quickly changed from taking it to, oh, we're just going down the block and we'll give it away.
Danny says the current division and lies that are being said is crazy. I know Scientology is happy at the moment.
Right.
There's always people at each other's throats, though. I'm sure they love any type of dissension. And they whip it up without question. But, I don't think that's ever going to change. There's always going to be
It doesn't matter
drama
anymore. It really doesn't. I mean, it did. There was a point early on when I felt like it really mattered, but maybe that's because I just had come out of helping them. But now I look at it and I go, who cares? It's like we are winning over and over and over. I mean, the fact that their windows were closed for a year is a major, and that's a whole new group of people that got that going. Danny, you were one of them. But, there were those live streamers who came. It started with Will and Jessica Palmadessa. They were the first two that I knew. And, Will always said, I don't really care about getting these people out of Scientology. I just want to shut it down. And he always says, hey, go ahead, open up the recruiting center. I'll be there. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Dominican Republic. Thank you for explaining that to me.
Oh. Were they at the Dominican Republic?
I don't know. Somebody else, fill me in. Professor Kakan says, I'm late. The intro image of you, Tori, is just like how gorgeous you looked in 1972. Just your hair was long and before you were wearing glasses. Well, I created another thumbnail for the video of your speech. And yes, you look fabulous.
Before I was beautiful. I mean, back when I was beautiful.
Please. Yeah. So it's always, it's amazing what comes out of these AI thumbnails that I create. Like I said, okay, I want something that symbolizes Tori in San Diego. And so they had like shots of you in a bikini. I was like, no, this is a speech. So I just toned it way back from that.
Thank you.
Just because I said she's in San Diego doesn't mean she's at the beach, for God's sake.
There's a few more things that go on in San Diego than the beach.
Perth Scientology Audit says, ignore the drama and focus on your own stuff, I reckon. Well, that's always the best thing to do.
Thank you, Danny.
Sometimes, it can be fun to get caught up in it and join in, but then you ultimately realize that, it doesn't help anything. Danny says, Tori being out there at Blue is awesome to see. Well, yes, it is. Tori being anywhere is awesome to see. Tori at Big Boy was awesome to see. When we sit there late at night and have something tasty to eat. We went to a diner. It wasn't Big Boy, but we were at some place where Jason Lee was at the next table. Do you remember that?
Jason Begay?
No, Jason Lee from My Name is Earl. Is an actor that that starred in a TV series for a few years, and he just happened to be at the next booth. But we didn't say hi to him.
No, but I will tell you another one, just a funny story. Spanky and I were at a restaurant in Glendale. This was some years ago. And we got up, and the group right across from us were these top attorneys, not Moxon, but higher up guys, big attorneys. And
Scientology attorneys?
Yeah. And people that ran them. And Spanky just took off out in the parking lot. And I walked over to him and I said, hey, I'm Tori Chrisman. Does that name ring a bell? And they all went, yeah. And anyway, I talked to him about leaving and how happy I was to be out, and I recommended it. Small world.
Regarding Dominion Republic earthquake. Oh, there's earthquake. Nancy Maney reported the VM were there in their yellow shirts and nothing else. I tell you what, I am not even aware of this earthquake happened today or
no?
Because I have not had a chance to really look at the news. It
wasn't today.
Okay.
I know Nancy, and she's busy. She's a chaplain in the COVID unit. She's been helping with COVID since at the beginning.
Listen, this is a hot breaking news to me as well. Does it matter to you? Not to me. Says, I miss Midnight with Magoo. You're not doing Midnight with Magoo anymore?
No, it isn't that I'm not. It's a couple of things. One, a few people have asked me to do it earlier. And two, it's kind of goes into too late in the morning. I end up sleeping all day, because I'm up all night. It's like when you and I called and you said, yeah, you didn't get up, you didn't go to bed till 11 in the morning. It's kind of like that. And I thought I've got to start doing it a little bit earlier somehow. And the other thing is that I had dental surgery, big dental surgery. So I'm kind of in pain, and I've been kind of taking a break from doing the videos because of that. But I saw my dentist today and she said, it's looking good.
Good.
My bridge came out, so I had to have a whole new bridge made.
Oh my Lord.
$3,000.
It's insane.
I know. Just awful.
I've got a couple teeth that have been falling apart. I feel they're missing. Not entirely missing, but like chunks of my tooth have fallen out. It's rough getting old.
I know.
Danny Agreed, YouTube watcher, says it's amazing how Tori just sits in a chair at PAC and Blue literally shuts down. There you go. You have that power, Magoo.
I love them having to walk across the street and behind me. I mean, because the younger live streamers kind of didn't. I don't think they totally understood being declared suppressive. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen an SP declare, here's mine. Here you go, and that's my SP declare, and it's by the Church of Scientology. Anyway, that's something. Sometime we should put on something so that we can just pop it up and show it.
All right, I'll have that handy next time. I have to get a copy of it from you, though. Is there a copy online I can see?
I don't think so, but there is the copy of the 25-step program to muzzle Tory. That worked, Osa.
Ooh, yeah. You know, those geniuses, they know how to stop people in their track.
Yeah, that worked. That worked.
Let's see. What else did we want to talk about?
Well, what have you noticed in joking and degrading as far as Scientologists? Have you heard any examples of that?
No, I haven't seen much of a sense of humor from Scientology itself. It does, you know, and I feel kind of conflicted on this because there's this one Scientologist who's talented on Saturday Night Live now, and I can't think of her name. She does great impressions. And it's just so odd seeing her on there, knowing that just a couple of years previously, they had done that terrific spoof of the Scientology song where everyone, we stand tall.
We stand tall.
Yeah, a brilliant spoof of that. So they can't do that type of thing anymore. And I don't mean to be prejudiced.
You don't need to be what?
Because prejudiced against her for being on the show because she is talented, and I have a harder time thinking past Scientology with her than I do when I go see Mission Impossible, for instance. I think it's silly to not see the great movies that Tom Cruise puts out just because you don't like that Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. And I should feel the exact same way on Saturday Night Live. And I try hard to. I try because I am a sweet guy. And I don't want to be negative anyway. I just keep thinking.
And a national treasure.
Yeah. They're keeping, they're suppressing the Scientology material now. Anyway. Okay, Arlene says, everyone's saying how beautiful Tori is, and indeed they are right, but can I say how damn good looking Bunker is?
He is. He is.
Thank you.
He is.
I'm a devilish rogue. Good Lord. I think I'm a hideous beast, but I'm glad that there's a few people out there in the world who look past that.
That's right.
How is Spanky? That's what she said. Asks, I remember Mike Rowe speaking out about her story. It was phenomenal. How is Spanky?
She's doing great. She's doing really great. She's busy. She's doing her thing.
T says, Mark, you are very lucky to get an interview with Jerry Armstrong. Many have tried and failed. I look forward to it immensely. Well, I got to tell you, I've done 2 lengthy interviews with Jerry already that I have on tape that I've never shown. I got a snippet out there on YouTube. The first interview I did with him was back in 2000 at the Lisa McPherson Trust.
Oh.
And we sat down in the offices there, and I started to have him tell the story, but I asked for so much detail that we detailed everything about his life in Scientology. And then he had to leave and go home before we even got to discovering the Hubbard material.
Oh, man.
So When I then later was driving around the country doing interviews with everybody for the film, I did head up to Canada and interview him there, and we got into all of that stuff. So I've got all that I was saving for the movie, and I'm hoping that there's a chance to get the movie fixed. And in fact, I mentioned it to Mitch and see if maybe Mitch wants to get involved in it.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that might be a really nice teaming. We'll see. You know, he's checking out the clips that I have online, and we'll talk about it. But I think I feel more confident and that it's more likely now than it has in a number of years. Professor Kakan comments, you may have covered this earlier. The original person that the Joker and Degrader policy was written about was Jerry Armstrong. Do you think that's true? Do you know anything about that, Tori?
I don't. I know that Hubbard already had come up with the tone level of 1.1, which is covert hostility, which is the most evil person on the planet. Thank you very much. Because each of us are 1-1, which couldn't be farther from the truth. I mean, Mark is very outspoken. I am very outspoken. That is not a trait of a 1-1. They're very covert, and they would do the joking and degrading, right? Like, oh, Mark, it's so nice you finally got a new shirt. Oh, Tori, you got your hair done finally. You know, and that's sort of their Hubbard's interpretation of covert hostility.
Yeah.
But that was way before Jerry, as far as I know. Ask Jerry, because maybe I could be wrong, because he was on the ship with them. So maybe it was.
Well, I mean, Hubbard was his best man, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in the wedding.
Let's see. Question, Mark from JB808. Were you the one who recorded the outbursts of Scientology members during the Going Clear screening? I have to look for that video on YouTube. Yes, I believe that that's the video that I shot here at a theater when it was shown, and we had, in fact, I was just taking a look at it the other night. Mike Rinder was one of the people talking, and there were one or two others, I think, that were involved in the film. And I don't know if it was, there was one of the women who was interviewed was there, and somebody in her life was jumping up and creating a scene about, you know, her failed relationship or whatever with whoever, you know, disconnected from her. But yeah, that is out there on my channel if you do a search. Professor Kakan, I was in the date packing plant and saw it. Next day, Jerry was in the RPF. Oh, so this is the beginning of joking and degrading? The date packing plant. Okay.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
Fill me in. What you were actually packing up dates, or is that some sort of Scientology term? YouTube watcher, I heard that per COS lawsuit against Jerry, he is not allowed to come into the USA. That is crazy. Well, I mean, he's come here. I mean, he certainly, even though he's been involved in all of these lawsuits, he has shown up in the States in the past. So I don't know. Again, another question to ask. Love Maddie.
I was in the date packing plant and saw it. Next day, Jerry was in the RPF. Now, Going and Clear, is he talking about Going Clear? Because Going Clear was way after Jerry being in the RPF.
No.
Well, I'm just
Going Clear was Going Clear was
Going Clear was in 2000s. Jerry escaped out long before 2000.
Love Maddie says, Mark, you have so many videos that need to be seen. Is anyone helping you with getting them ready to show? I'd like to see more of them yesterday. No, no one is, but I'm working on it. Main thing is I need to get all the knowledge report interviews prepared and ready to be seen. Because, I could kick the bucket tomorrow. I really need to get all this stuff done so it doesn't get buried with me. How's that for joking and degrading?
Don't say that.
Hey, there's a little more info from Professor Kakan. Deep packing plant converted to movie studio. Now, deep, I'm sure is a typo. What were we talking? Date packing plant?
Deep packing plant.
Date packing plant converted to movie studio.
But the early was the deep packing plant.
Well, yeah, I think they're correcting the typo there because they were talking
so
about.
Are they talking about dates, like dates, or we're going on a date?
I don't know. It sounds to me like there was a date packing plant where they're actually packing up dates to be sold, and that was converted to a movie studio. I don't know if they're talking about Golden Era or what.
Weird.
You gotta fill us in, Professor.
Yeah, Professor, you gotta fill us in. And you don't have
Kelly says,
status.
And Kelly says that Jerry can go to the States just as could be charged for going against the court judgment for speaking out. So many dollars for each time he spoke out. Yeah. I forget exactly how much he has to pay each time he talks, but
you can interview him like this, right?
Yeah.
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 So.
And I don't think it's ever slowed him down. He still gets his message out, and no matter how hard they try to stop him. And JB found it. Thanks, Mark. The video title is "Going Clear Q&A," and the other woman on the panel was named Sarah. And the kids disconnected to her. It was heartbreaking to see. Yep. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, if you haven't seen that video, "Going Clear Q&A," it was a really fun event that I'm glad that I had a chance to capture on tape. To have them with a live audience, everyone seeing the film for the first time, and then Mike and Sarah and whoever else was there answering questions about it. It was well worth recording for posterity. Okay, so even more information. The date packing plant at the La Quinta Ranch that was converted to a movie studio, and Jerry was the head of props in the making of the movies there.
Huh. Wow.
Bit of history I was not aware of.
Me neither.
I found the anti-Scientology channels after watching a Tom Cruise movie on YouTube. After what I've learned, I will never watch another. That's what she said. And frankly, I don't quite understand why you would, worry about Tom Cruise getting one more ticket sale if you go to Mission Impossible. I always liked Cruise as an actor in most of the stuff he does. I remember well before I was looking into Scientology, or was probably even aware he was a Scientologist, when he made that movie with Dustin Hoffman. And can I think of the name of it right now? No, but Dustin Hoffman had mental difficulties and was on the spectrum, and Tom Cruise was his brother who was trying to deal with him for the first time. And I thought Dustin Hoffman was mannered and really theatrical, and Tom Cruise did a good job. And so
Rain Man.
Thank you,
cats. Yeah.
Good film. And there are certainly films of his that I think suck. But the last, since Mission Impossible 3 forward, I mean, those films have been very well made, and I look forward to seeing the next one.
See, I love The Firm. That's totally Scientology.
Really?
The fact that he made The Firm and didn't have any wake up on that is amazing to me.
Sure.
And A Few Good Men also is very amazing that he didn't wake up. But anyway, both of them I love. I think they're really great, and I think he's great in them. I know him as a Scientologist, and he has two sides to him. He has the side where he's like his PR front, where he's a great guy, right? And people that work with him, they're always a really great guy. But I know other people who work for him, and he's a total jerk. So it just depends on which side of him you see.
Sure. Well, I have no idea whether I would care for the real man as a human being, because I have heard some troubling stuff about him, but on the movie screen,
on the screen he
a lot is
does what
forgiven.
he does, and we both like movies, so we're both movie people.
Kelly brings up the point that it's hard to respect an actor when you know what he's doing in real life. Yeah, but Scientology isn't. Well, I guess with him it is kind of the be all end all. But I guess I'm willing to overlook stuff like that. And I feel guilty, as I said. I can't think of the name of the woman on Saturday Night Live, but the people who work with her on the show seem to love her, and so I should as well. Okay, so what else? What else should we get into, or have we babbled enough? What? Okay, let me. I just want to bring up this one. I just think if we collectively choose not to support Tom Cruise, maybe it will make a dent. Well, I don't think there's enough people in the critic scene to really affect the box office of anything that Tom Cruise did. And what really had an impact on his career for a while, I don't know why we've got some sort of feedback going on, but Tom Cruise caused his own problems by jumping on Oprah's couch and going, Matt, you're glib. So that has a bigger repercussion on his career than us not buying a ticket to see a good movie.
Right.
What's that science fiction film that he made, Edge of Tomorrow, where he's living the same day over and over in combat? That's a great movie.
I haven't
just
seen
watched
it.
that again. Oh, it's an absolutely fantastic thing. It's like a Groundhog Day where you're reliving the same day over and over. In this case, there's an alien invasion, and he's a public relations firm for the military, a public relations person for the military. Never been in combat himself, doesn't want to be in combat because he's a coward. And this alien invasion comes, and he's kind of forced into the front lines. And he dies and has to come back and fight the same battle over and over, learning each day. But it's just a spectacular movie, and they're making a sequel to it. I don't know how or why, but I'll go see it. Scientology actress on SNL is Chloe Fineman. Thank you very much, JB808. That is true, and Chloe Fineman is a
and
talented
Professor Kakan.
Okay, Kakan as well. Yes, I do see that now. So who's in that film with him, with Tom Cruise? Emily Blunt is the female lead in that film. And I tell you what, if there's anything with Emily Blunt in it, I'm all there. I think she's fantastic. And Tom Cruise, or no one could keep me away from Emily Blunt. She's one of my favorite actresses. There's a number of actresses that I love, that I have a real love for, like Kate Winslet. Yeah. And I can't think of actors that I feel so passionately about, but Emily Blunt and Kate Winslet, you got my thumbs up. I'll be there whenever you're doing a film. Edge of Tomorrow. All right. Well, I think that I have accomplished all my goals. Baguski, you have stuff you want to talk about?
Do I?
Yeah.
I think we covered it. Does anybody have any questions on joking and degrading? Because that was the topic. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Kelly loves Kate Winslet as well. Have you seen the movie The Reader? I love that film. Oh my God, this is such a good film. She plays a woman who's very suppressed, very repressed.
Right.
And it's all about this young teenage boy who gets a mad crush on her and falls in love with her, and she has an affair with this kid, but the thing is, he has to read for her every day before they get to the action.
Right.
And she just loves being read to, and then you find out in the course of the film why that's the case, and there are revelations in the film that are kind of unique, and it creates a dilemma for you as a viewer, where how should I be feeling about this person? But if you haven't seen it, give it a chance. The Reader with Kate Winslet.
I just realized another thing, Mark. Scientology would consider, if people were in touch with us, that they're joking and degrading. Because we're having a good time. And
we are.
It's not that they can never have a good time, but not with SPs. You can't.
Okay.
Not going to happen.
All right, folks. Well, it has been fun. It looks like we've exhausted all the questions from folks.
I love your intro.
Are there folks who missed it at the beginning of the video? I'd be happy to play it again if you want to see it again. I put together a theme song for us. Anyone want to see it? Let's have a show of hands.
They're all raising their hands, so show it again. What the hell?
All right. All right.
Leave.
Here we go. I've got it over here. Here we go.
There you
He was a fighter, calling them out. She was inside, lost in the doubt. But life's funny, it can twist and turn. Now they're a team, and the world can learn. Funky and Magoo, the dynamic two, giving a voice to what's real and true. A tale of hope, and what we can do if we all had a little Funky and Magoo. She had the stories, he had the fights. Now they're shining a big bright light. From OT3 to Target 2, they're telling it all. Funky and Magoo. Funky's got the questions, Magoo's got the past. No sec checking needed, we will pass. The needles are floating for those two. The perfect team, Funky and Magoo. True, speaking the truth for me and you. No disconnection, the fair game too. They're shutting it down, Funky and Magoo. She saw it all, but now she's free. He called out fraud in Scientology. Working together, see what they can do. It's showtime now with Bonky and Magoo.
Well, there you go. There you go.
I love
We-
that, Bonky. So
well,
cute.
I'm glad you like it. It's a
I do.
catchy tune.
Very good.
And I'll put that up separately if you just want to groove out to the song. That'll be published after this as well. And we'll have a shorter version for the future, so that
And you have to have a copyright.
Please, this is I'll come after you tooth and nail if you try to steal Bunky and Magoo. Some of my finest work.
There you go.
All right, Magooski, let's say good night.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming. Kelly, thank you for helping. Mark, thank you for everything you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. Until next time, see you soon.
See you.
What are your crimes, Mark? Yes, what are your crimes, Mark? Your crimes are hidden, they should be seen. Spin all out, Mark, and just come clean.